Hello, and welcome to the third episode of the Culture Study Podcast. This is a very important, very landmark episode that I am excited about because we have our very first guest today. We have Umu from ReacttotheK, Umu being the mastermind and creator behind the channel. The channel, very, very successful, much more successful than mine, known for their, I would say, their primary series, the Classical Musicians React series. Umu, as I mentioned in the previous podcast, was actually a potential co-host, but due to her busy schedule, that wasn't quite possible. And that's something we touch upon in this episode as well. I'm actually recording this intro a little bit separately, and I might actually do that going forward whenever I do have guests, because with my guests, I don't want to do all of this whole spiel about talking about, the comings and goings and the updates to the channel and introducing them and whatnot, because I want my podcast guests, I don't want it to be interviews. I want it to feel more natural. I want people to come in and let's just talk and shoot the shit. And perhaps we did get a little bit too comfortable in this episode because, in the Korean sphere right now, there's a lot of news going on with GOT7's comeback, Chungha signing to 88 Rising, potential COVID cases going on in the idol sphere because one idol actually came into close contact with somebody else who got it. But we talk about none of those things in this episode. I haven't talked to Umu at all, really, this pandemic. Umu, is someone that I'm very close with, but we really only have our conversations when we meet up. But when we do meet up, we have long, lengthy conversations. During this pandemic, we've texted back and forth. We've maybe done a game night here and there, but we haven't really caught up with one another. And so this was a rare opportunity for us. So we actually it's more so a catching up session. And, we share with you guys how we met and sort of our origin story. And we get into more of like the YouTube kind of side of the K-pop sphere. And so, if you guys are interested in that, you might find this conversation interesting, or you might just be here for the K-pop, and there's a little bit less of that. But I do promise, I do plan on having Umu back as a guest in the future, and this is just something we had to get out of the way. I feel like whenever we're talking with somebody that we're close with, you can't help but catch up. And so, I caught up with her, but in the future, we are going to try to have more, I would say, K-pop oriented centric discussions. Let me know in the comments how you do feel about this episode after you get through it. Do you want more laid back, more conversational episodes like this? Or would you prefer, even when I do have guests, that we stick to current events and stuff like that? And as for the podcast as well, I know that the scheduling has been a little bit up in the air, but I am going to make it official now. Originally I wanted this to be a weekend podcast, but then for what I wanted to do, it kind of didn't make sense. And so I am going to make this a early in the week podcast. What we're going to do is I'm going to record these on Mondays and they will be published on Tuesdays. So it is a Tuesday podcast. So please subscribe to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and look forward to new episodes every single Tuesday. Going forward into the future as well, when we do introduce video podcasts, we will also do these live. We will live stream these podcasts, and that's why I wanted to make it a Monday, Tuesday type of deal. We will stream it on Mondays, live on Twitch, twitch.tv/formatherapy. Please follow or sub to us on Twitch to be tuned in for that. And then we will, rebroadcast or put out the official podcast version on Tuesdays. Anyways, without further ado, this intro is getting long. Let's get into the episode. This is Umu from ReacttotheK. Yeah, so are you rolling?
I am rolling.
I mean, if you're rolling, we can just get started.
Shall we get started?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to record a separate intro, so
Okay.
No need to worry. But how are you doing? I mean, I mean, we should introduce you to the peoples. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. Thank you, PD, for having me. My name is Umu, and I run the reaction channel called ReacttotheK.
So
I
formal.
am a recent... Yo, what's up, everyone? My name is Umu.
No.
I'm a
I just
recent
mean,
graduate from...
I just mean like the whole thank you, PD. Thank you for having me. Like that's so. I don't know. That's
It's so funny. It's so many how many of our fans have no idea that we're actually friends in real life.
I think out
There's
of
a
all
ton.
the YouTubers, I probably talked to you the most, or I've met up with you the most and hung out with you the most. Probably. Yeah. Because
So it's really funny to see people DM me saying, "You know, form of therapy." I'm like, "Yeah, we've been like hanging since like 3 years ago." Like,
oh yeah, that is. Occasionally, I get those comments. I think it's because there's like there's rarely any crossover in the sense of like, I think with like,
True.
for lack of a better word, I mean, not that we're not American, but like American YouTubers, they always like collab and appear on each other's channels, and
very true.
you know, they'll constantly like, what's her name, Charlie DiMaggio or whatever, that TikTok girl will always appear on like a James Charles video, and James Charles will always appear on like a this video, and so everyone knows that there's like this community. And I don't think, honestly, our sphere has one. What'd you say?
I remember, if you're talking about like how many times we've interacted like on camera, we only did that one Stray Kids First Listen on your channel, and that got taken down.
Yeah. So like, there's not a lot of crossover. One, because I think most of us live cross-continental. Like most of us do not even live in the same state, let alone the same coast. And also like, I think that also stems from the fact that like a lot of American YouTubers, even if they're not from LA, they all eventually move to LA. Because all of them eventually make enough money to move to LA. But our hemisphere doesn't have that kind of money wealth type thing. So I think most people don't move out to LA and make that move. And also, like, even if people do live near each other, I feel like our quote unquote community, and I say quote unquote because I think that's the problem in and of itself. I don't think people realize that like there's no K-pop YouTuber community. Like,
true.
Everyone largely keeps to themselves.
Huge.
Well, it's huge, but the American YouTube community is a lot bigger. But like, people always find a way to like communicate and collaborate with each other. But I feel like the K YouTube sphere, nobody bothers reaching out. Everyone just kind of keeps to themselves.
The only time.
Yeah, KCON is the only time people actually socialize and, you know, maybe reach out to each other. Like, you know, like maybe at KCON, you know, I'll like, I know the first time I went to KCON, I didn't do jack shit. Like, I did not talk to people. I did not reach out. Like, people reached out to me, but largely I just kept to myself. And then the next year KCON, I was like, well, I'm gonna network. And then I started like just talking to people. But I think that's also the thing. Like, people only want to use each other for like networking. For networking, and then beyond that, it's just like nobody technically wants to just hang out and be friends, you know?
I mean, yeah, for me, I haven't gotten to the point where I've successfully started chatting up a bunch of people at KCON. I've always been too terrified to, because I'm a fan of them, or I know kind of like all about them where they might not know anything about me, and so I feel intimidated.
That problem. Yeah. That
so that's mine.
I know that problem. Here's the unique problem. If for listeners, here's a unique problem that YouTubers have, which is that you want to approach someone who is like somewhat in your industry, but they're much bigger than you, and so you have this problem of like, you don't want to come off like a fan. and just fanning at them, but like you also don't want to be like, but it's kind of in your mind saying like, hey, I'm somebody, you know. It's like, hey, I'm not just a random person, I swear. But you also can't go up and say, hey, you know, I have 600,000 subscribers. You know what I mean? Like you can't be like, hey, I'm famous
Look,
too.
we're on the same level. Let's be friends.
yeah. It's a weird line. And I can tell you that your fears are 100% warranted, because I definitely feel the same way. I was like that meeting David Amber.
Am I allowed to ask who?
Who, what? Oh, meeting
you just answered my question. Who did you feel that way towards?
Yeah. I definitely was that way about David Amber, just because for me, I think anything that man touches in the K-pop world, it comes out gold. And he gets it. Everything he touches, he gets it. You know?
He's really brilliant.
Yeah, he's really, really brilliant. And then he had a song with Andreas on IZ*ONE's latest album. Well, not latest, sorry. Their full-length studio album. It was called like Eyes or something like that, or I think it was Eyes. It was one of their earlier songs.
Eyes on Me, Eyes on You, something.
Yeah, that one. Oh my God, them coming together. I was like, oh my God, this is fucking brilliant. But yeah, I was certainly that way about David Amber. But yeah, I think most people don't know that you and I know each other. How did we get to know each other? I know.
Okay, I remember it. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So I think I started watching your videos before I might have even, around the time that I started up my YouTube channel for the first time, possibly before I even started up my Classical Musicians React series, because you two were doing group reactions at that time. So I was like, what is
man,
this
if people
doing?
don't know this, if people are new, it used to be multiple people on my channel. Yeah,
so I checked that out. I became a Day 6 fan, and so I started just marathoning all of your Day 6 content, which was when I figured out, oh my goodness, this guy knows Jay. And I was wondering, how did they get connected? And so I DM'd you when I learned that you were going to KCON. So like first I followed you on your socials, and then I
know you
DM'd
me.
So
yeah, I know you. I know you DM'd me. I just don't remember what.
Yeah, I think after that we just started hanging out at KCON, and we all hit it off. And we just kept.
Well, okay, I do viscerally remember the first time meeting you, and I don't know if I've talked. I don't know if I've talked about this to you, but you're the reason why I changed my channel, or why I cut my entire cast. To focus
on the producer aspect, right?
Well, it was more so.
Or?
No. It was a different reason. So for context, if people don't know, before I was on camera, I was almost never on camera. I was rarely on camera. I was only on camera if I ever needed to fill a spot, or if someone felt nervous and they wanted someone to sit in with them. And so I used to have like cast reactions just like Umu. But the thing is, my thing was I just cast anybody, you know. I mainly cast people through like Craigslist, you know. I wanted like fucking fresh eyes, people who know nothing about K-pop, and like introduce them to this world, right? And show the evolution of that. But then I met you at KCON, and then we had dinner, and it was dinner with like most of your crew. Someone hadn't arrived yet. I forget who. It was maybe Lindsay. Someone had.
That's probably it.
Yeah, someone arrived. I remember the day I left, but the day before we all had dinner at a place called Blooming Roll, and I remember that was such a nice experience. And there was a very specific moment where after dinner we were all taking like the escalator up, I think, to go back to the car, and it started playing classical music in like on the escalator, and everybody, it was like maybe 5 or 6 people, everybody just started like trying to figure out who trying to figure out who the composer was, just like based on like they were all listening along. They're all like, oh, like no, this sounds like this is probably this. And I was like, what a bunch of nerds, what a bunch of huge giant nerds. But like it was so inspiring because like everyone was like nerding out about it, you know, and they were so clearly passionate about it. And at that point, I was at a point with my channel where I was like, I wasn't necessarily enjoying what I was doing, and my channel was like severely plateauing. It had a burst in subscribers when I first started. I think like month 2 or 3, I got 10K subs in 1 month, and then
Awesome.
that's when I started, you know. But then you know, it was like a year or 2, and I had only gone up another 10 or 20K subs, you know. So I was like, okay, this rate is like not working. You know, something's not working, and I didn't know what it was. And so after I met you guys, I saw how passionate you guys were. I'm like, oh my God, this is what I was like, this is what's missing, you know? People don't want to watch fucking ignorant people who know nothing about K-pop learn about K-pop. People want to watch people be passionate about stuff. So I was just like, I didn't know what direction I wanted to go, but the intention wasn't for me to be on camera. The intention was, so I cut the original cast, and then I was going to cast for a completely new cast. I didn't know what direction, but I wanted people who were passionate about, not necessarily like K-pop fans, but people who are passionate about something. But, you know, this was the internet. So I was like, you know, if I don't upload, the channel's going to die. So in the meantime, I'll upload videos of myself and I'll just fill in this blank space until I cast somebody new. And I never cast a new cast because I was in the process of casting a new cast. I did auditions and everything too.
I remember I saw that on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, I did auditions and everything too. But then ultimately, nobody kind of lived up to, I don't want to say lived up to me, but it was like I'm doing a better job.
What you were shooting for.
Yeah, I'm doing a better job doing this solo than it is shooting all these people. And I'm sure you know this, like scheduling and everything is just a nightmare with like multiple people.
It's so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure it's easier for you somewhat just in the sense that like
because everyone's living in the same
living in the
like,
the same premises.
Minutes.
But with me, it was like I had people in LA, I had people in like different cities, and like people commuting left and right, and
that's tough.
Yeah. So, you know, if anybody from the original cast is listening and they have a gripe and a grudge for me cutting them, well, blame Mumu. It's their fault. It was completely inspired by them and their channel. And yeah.
No, that's great, man, because I think you briefly mentioned it to me like a few months after we met at KCON. You said, oh, by the way, I'm changing my channel, it's because of you. And I was like, oh wow, that's so, you know, that's so nice.
Yeah.
But it's great that I just happened upon this idea of having people very passionate about a specific thing and showing them this stuff. And it's so funny because I originally thought like, oh, it's just gonna be my friends and we, all happen to have the same major. And I, my mindset was yours at first, was showing people who didn't know much about K-pop and hoping to record them developing into K-pop fans. And then of course, due to the title that I chose, the Classical Musicians React, and due to fans' feedback, it was able to transform into something else.
Do you regret naming it Classical Musicians React, or are you satisfied with it? Do you wish you had named it something different, or do you wish you could change it now, or are you satisfied with it?
For the first season of the series, where I do not feel like the content lived up to the title, yes, I wish I chose something different. But for what it is now, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I chose that, because it's actually more recognizable than my channel name, ReacttotheK, you're right? Because that's kind of generic. So whenever anyone recognizes us, it isn't, oh, that's ReacttotheK. It's, oh, you're the classical musicians. Yeah. So I think I nailed something right there, especially since around that time, there were a few other musicians or producers reacting, I believe. Yeah. And so I chose this one thing that I hadn't seen anyone else name before. So I saw that niche and I stole it before anyone else could. So
I want to ask you
something about
I want
me
to
was
ask you a
doing something
question.
right. Yeah.
At the time when we were first taking off, there was another channel, and
Mm-hmm.
it was much bigger than both of ours. They're no longer around. I'm
Mr. J.
no,
K.
no, no. Oh, let's not touch on that. Let's not touch on that subject.
Let's
Not yeah, no,
leave that at the door.
no. It was almost BuzzFeed-esque.
Oh.
And they had like a group cast. Their logo was like red with white letters. I can't remember what it was. And then they started expanding. They would react to like, Indian content. They would react to Chinese content, at like whatever content. They would start expanding. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I remember the name. They were called Fomo Daily. Do you remember them?
Oh, I thought they existed way before us.
No,
Wait.
I know this specifically. They started their channel 3 months before I started mine. Because I remember I had the idea to do this channel for at least a year and a half. And I'm a very sit on my ideas kind of guy. But I'm also, once I pull the trigger, I just start, barreling forward. But it takes a lot for me to actually pull the trigger on a big project. And I suddenly saw FOMO Daily, and they had only maybe 3 videos because they were only releasing in the beginning like 1 video a month. And it got like 500,000 views because it was unprecedented at the time. Like a BuzzFeed style K-pop reactions. And I was literally
I
like,
don't think I've ever watched anything from them.
oh really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw them, and then I was like, this was my fucking idea. And I was like, I'm not sitting back and letting this pass me by. So like I literally started my channel like as soon as I could. And they existed only 3 months before me. And then that was the one channel. I feel like some people have like a channel that they always look at as like competition, and they'll like check back on that channel and their analytics every now and then.
Was this your competition?
Yeah, this was the only channel I've ever like looked at and like checked their numbers, And this is the very beginning too.
I have a funny story.
What?
So when I don't think you knew who I was. You were live streaming, and I asked you on your live stream if you watch other people's reaction videos.
I don't.
And you said you never do.
Yeah.
You never do because you might get ideas from that person and then therefore like ruin your own personal content.
Yeah. Oh, was that you?
Way back when. That was me
on
a separate.
I actually.
You remember that question?
Yes, I specifically remember that question because that's a question I get often nowadays. Yeah, people are like, what YouTubers do you watch? What YouTubers do you watch? And like, that's the question now. But back in the day, the question you asked was, what other reactors do you watch? And my answer was none. And because, I don't want to, I don't know. I want plausible deniability if I ever bite somebody else's content, because if I do something that someone else is doing, but if it's completely my own original thought and it just happens to be the same thing, then that's just a coincidence, But if I watch somebody else's thing, I don't want to get inspired. And then because I don't like copying. And whenever somebody else executes an idea that I already had, I go, oh, fuck, that's what I wanted to do. And then I don't pursue it, which is probably a bad business move. I should be just doing it anyways, but artistic integrity and all that BS.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wow, yeah, I'm scrolling through the FOMO Daily YouTube channel. I've definitely seen their thumbnails.
Yeah, you've seen their thumbnails. They were the biggest channel at the time. And then one day they just fucking disappeared. They disappeared. The rumor that I heard was that they lost funding because it was like,
they had funding.
So it was like 2 girls that started it, and so they were starting to pick up steam, right? So then they got capital, like they went out and searched for investment, and they got investment, right?
Wow.
But then their funding dried up. And I don't know, that's just the rumor that I heard. But that is a smart, I feel like, thing to learn from is do not take fucking investments early on. Do not take capital early on. Do not take, if someone says they're going to invest in your YouTube channel and you have less than, I would say honestly, even if you have less than 200,000 subs, I feel like it's not worth it. I feel like if
I thought you were going to say 1 million.
No. Cause like, I think you can take capital and investments once you can start making a living off of your YouTube channel. Once you make a steady living. So, I would take investments. If I've had investment offers, but I just didn't know what to do with the money. So I never took it on. Have you ever gotten investment offers for your channel?
No, literally just sponsorship.
Yeah,
That's
like
it.
big investment offers. Like, hey, we want to see your channel evolve, so we'll give you like 100 grand.
Damn, that's happened to you?
No, not 100 grand.
Okay.
Yeah, not 100 grand. Are you kidding me? I would have said yes. I would have said yes, and then I would have figured out what to do with that money. 100 grand? No. It was. I mean, I think it's okay as long as I don't say who. Like, but it was 10 grand. But
That's
I was just thinking, I could burn through 10 grand really quickly if like. Because, like, what I was pitching was, like, I want to do something, like, it's a little bit highbrow, something, like The Cut or Jubilee, but, like, better or different.
right.
But I was just, like, thinking, like, 10 grand, I can burn through that fast. And, because, like, 10 grand to invest in just, like, the quality of, like, those kind of videos is easily more than 10 grand. And so...
Right.
I'm just like, I can't just invest in the quality and then, the channel is like putting out these high quality videos first couple months and then the money dries up and then I can't do it, So,
Right.
yeah, I turned it down ultimately.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder if very casual fans of my channel think that there is a corporation behind our stuff. Or if they know it's just me alone.
I don't think they think. I don't think they think there is a corporation. I've never had that misconception. At least from what I've seen, I think just largely the misconception is that we're making a ton of money.
Oh my goodness.
I think that's the large misconception. I'm very upfront about my analytics. I'm like, yo, I made $200 last month. Like that's like the extent of how much I'm rolling in it. And I average like what? Almost I average somewhere between like 2 to 3 million views a month. And like Social Blade says, like with those kind of numbers, minimum I should be making 4 grand. And at the highest I should be making like 10 grand. And I don't even make like 1/4 of that. Like,
yeah, I know, right? But I also want to thank you because I've totally taken your advice. You've texted me to let the fans know that we're not getting any money and to promote our Patreon in every single video.
Bro, we've
we've
grown,
grown, like 1K since I started doing that. So that's nice.
1K patrons?
Now I'm able to, dollars.
Oh.
I'm able to, we have 2 Korean translators and I have 3 to 4 assistant editors that I'm able to pay like minimum wage or slightly above minimum wage, thanks to that.
You're insane. The fact that you pay people to edit your videos and then subtitle your videos, you are insane.
It works. Well, okay, what do you know, where are you most popular? In America, right?
I'm
views versus subscription, I'm curious.
I would have to look this up. I'm gonna look this up right now. Go ahead and vamp.
Do it.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, because what I've noticed is that our top 3 places that we're most popular are America, South Korea, and Indonesia.
Mm.
And so ever since I started having translators join the channel, we've shot up in South Korea and Indonesia.
Mm.
Like now we're more popular in South Korea and Indonesia than the United States because we
Wow.
get subtitles on really quickly and
Wow.
just word spreads so quickly. So
Man,
subtitles really, really do help
this is
us.
so this is so annoying. So in the past 28 days, I'm looking at my analytics. By the way, I never look at my analytics. I have not.
It's fun as long as it isn't like specific numbers. It's fun to see like where people watch us.
I have never looked at my analytics in that way.
Whoa.
Ever. I've truly never cared about that. Like for me, it's literally just been about like, what's the shit, what's the good shit to make. But I'm looking at, and this is why I don't look at analytics. So in the last 28 days, I've had 894,000 unique viewers. So if you guys don't understand, I guess social media lingo talk, 894,000 unique viewers, that's close to 1 million, right? That's not repeated views. That's 894 different people, separate people with different IP addresses, different YouTube accounts have watched my videos. I have half of those subs.
Yeah, okay.
I'm also look, watch time from subscribers last 28 days, 55% not subscribed.
Yeah.
That's oh my god, that frustrates me so much. Like,
okay, honestly,
what?
Yeah, what I do, because I'm competitive AF, I go onto other YouTubers like about page to see how many views they have. I think we're the most viewed. I think Briss might be coming up on us or passing us. But we're the most, like, have the most views at 250 million. But the fact that other YouTubers have less views but more subscribers hurts me. Because, all these people are watching our videos, but, they don't like the videos enough to click subscribe.
Well, it's not that they don't like the videos. What that means is, and this is, it's because we make the wrong type of content. It's because they don't care about you. They care about just the reaction. And so it's why reactors also get the least amount of sponsorships and also get like lowballed in sponsorships, because reactors, more than any other YouTubers, people tend to skip the opening. People will just skip over until they get to the reaction part, watch just the reaction part, and then that's it. And then they bounce. And that's why people aren't subscribed, because most people are just looking for reactions, looking for people to reaffirm their views. I will tell you, for people listening, if you are not subscribed, I could probably, within like 6 months, within a few months, close my Patreon if I had the amount of if I had 894,000 subs, I could easily leverage that for 1, more sponsorships, and 2, get paid more from sponsorships. I get paid. I love my sponsors. I get paid dirt from my sponsors because 1, I have lower subscribers than most of the other channels. And 2, because again, I have a reaction channel. So I can't make a viable living off of sponsorships alone. And I only get like 1 or 2 sponsors a month. But if I had 800,000 subs, guys, numbers are so important. I don't think people realize that. Okay, so my top geography, I have it's a pretty healthy split. 19% in the US. Yeah, I have
That's top.
That's top. I have 19% in the US. Here, I'll go. Oh, going wider was not the way to go. Okay. 19%. Here's my top 5. 19% in the US, 11% in the Philippines. What's up, Philippines? 9% in Indonesia, 4% in Malaysia, 3.5% in Brazil. Korea's not even on my radar.
That's so.
Oh,
I wonder,
actually, no. Sorry, Korea's right below Brazil.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Korea's 6th place. What were you saying?
I wonder if the reason why we're more popular in Korea is because we're just white. We're all white. So it's not only classical musicians reacting, but it's also Americans.
Yeah, I mean, American specific content. I can tell you one time I did look at my analytics. South Korea was in my top 5 when I did group reactions. For sure. For sure. I mean,
Jesus, we're 23% in South Korea.
Yeah, there is a fascination in South Korea with watching Americans or foreign YouTubers engaging with Korean culture. Like, I mean, one of the biggest YouTubers in Korea is Korean Englishman, right? And he's a white guy.
Right.
You know?
Oh, they're great.
Yeah, yeah.
I love them.
I've never watched their content before in my life. And then I think very, very recently I watched some video. I think I watched the video because they were addressing something relating to COVID. And then I just decided I'm going to just check out their other videos. I'm like, wow, they produce some really quality fucking content. And I was like, damn, I wish I had those numbers. Like, just because I wish I could like hire the team that they hire. Like, oh man.
Bro, did you see their interview with Mark and Jaehyun?
People,
that's like one of my favorite videos on the internet.
People keep wanting me to watch
so
it,
hilarious.
but no, I haven't. No.
I mean, take your time.
Yeah.
But it's if you want something wholesome and funny to, I don't know, chow on food while watching. That's the go-to.
I mean, if I'm chowing on food, I'm usually always watching like Running Man personally. Either that or I'm filming, you know? I reserve eating.
You film while eat?
Yeah, like for very, very rarely. Only for like Patreon reactions that are like over an hour long.
Right.
Like if it's over an hour long, like a reality show or like a competition show or something like that, it's over an hour. So I'm like, listen, it's over an hour. I'm gonna eat because like this is an hour I could be taking out of my life to eat. And then watching this show, and that's 2 hours, right? Or knock 2 birds with 1 stone, boom, only an hour. I've become a very efficient workaholic.
I feel you on that one. Yeah, I'm always exporting videos, like exporting videos while I eat food, while also either listening to
let me ask you something. How long does it take you to export a video?
It hurts. Okay, so I just got a new computer, so it's sped
a computer
up a
or a
bit,
laptop?
but it's more like laptop.
Okay.
I'm a Apple gal.
Okay.
But it's more like the importing, and when all the footage is transcoding and all of that stuff, that takes like I'd say around 15-20 minutes, but exporting probably takes a few minutes. But it's like, it depends. What I do is
I'm sorry,
edit
what
like uncut versions.
Importing,
like, you know, when you drag the footage in and then it like analyzes.
Yeah, that takes you
the
15 to 20 minutes.
It takes a long time. Yeah, because I have about 3 hours of footage each time. 3 to 4 hours of footage.
That still can't be 15 to 20 minutes. It might be your processor. Well, I mean, I guess if you have a laptop, you can't have a powerful processor.
Yeah, it's really not that powerful.
Ugh. Oh,
I'm getting there. I'm getting there, like slowly saving up money to just keep upgrading the laptop so that they speed up.
I mean, one, you should ditch the whole laptop thing and first of all, just get a computer.
No, I travel so much.
Well,
though.
Use your laptop for on the go, but then you should have a base station that's just a workhorse for a computer, you know? Cuz like it's not efficient. Like I'm an efficiency nerd. Like to a fault. But
yes,
like literally I have spent so much money this year just to make everything so efficient. So much more efficient.
That is, sometimes I wonder how on earth you're able to churn out so many, like 2 videos a day almost.
It's because I've invested that much into gear that I've invested that much into gear that it makes my process really, really efficient. So I spend most of my day just doing nothing but filming. I wake up at 6, and then I'm filming by either 7 or 8 a.m. and then I keep going till 5 or 7 p.m. And it's just,
how do you have the mental energy to do that?
Yeah, it's a lot, and I do that 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. So it's a lot. Now I'm doing these.
That's so much.
Yeah, now I'm doing these podcasts, and now I'm also trying to stream as well. So I've just decided to not have a life. Like I was already not having a life, but I've decided to really not have a life. And the only way, like I hired an assistant. That was the only way I could like juggle all three of these things. Just because our Patreon is so chaotic. Like, no offense to my patrons who are listening. Thank you very much for supporting us. But I get like maybe 100 emails a day in requests.
Whoa.
And I'm like, yo, I can't keep up with this. And like, it gets to the point where like my email before my assistant stepped in was up to 800 emails backlogged. And that was after I had deleted maybe like 400 a couple months before. And it's just like, every day is like new, and I want to get to everything. I want to try and get to as much as possible. And a lot of those are going to be repeats, a lot of those requests are going to be repeats from different people, right? Like if something new comes out, multiple people are going to see it, and multiple people are going to request the same thing. But I still have to go through every individual email. So that's what I hired my assistant for. I'm like, listen, you need to fucking clean this inbox up. And you need to tell me what the fuck I have to actually react to. And so, yeah, then with that taken care of, all I do is just sit and film now. Just 6. What's 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.? That's...
No,
that's
too long.
10 hours a day?
Too much.
Yeah, I do roughly something
have
between 10 to 12 hours a day.
I have so many questions.
Okay. Whoa. What is your question?
First of all, so you have a social media manager as well, right?
Not really. I mean, I just have somebody who just honestly, it's very expensive. I just have somebody tweet my videos when they go live. A social media manager should be a lot more like engaging with the audience and stuff like that. And they only really handle Twitter as well, instead of covering like Instagram as well. And that's a process that, yes, sure, I could do, but I just needed to do that for my mental health. I needed to disconnect from Twitter, period. Yeah. I needed to go cold turkey. So I was like, okay, this is X amount of money out of my life, but like I need it because clearly I can't. I'm very much I can't quit an addiction unless I do it cold turkey. I'm not a slowly wean off type of person. So yeah, I mean, like I quit Facebook, and then I quit Twitter earlier this year, and honestly, totally easy for me. I have like the
wonderful.
I'm so like my brain is so chaotic. Like I'm always like in work mode and like always thinking about new shit all the time. I forget about stuff all the time, So like, I stayed off Twitter for like 2-3 weeks, never thought about it ever again. Like it's just
nice. Wow.
Yeah. But
that's wonderful, because I was wondering, now that your main focus is, do you still edit your videos?
No, I don't even edit my videos. I one take all my videos. I shoot it in one take. I have like a digital mixer that like brings up overlays for like Patreon and stuff like that. So it's basically just live editing. So like I press a button and then my Patreon thing comes up.
Oh my God.
I press a button and then it'll cut to a different angle where the reaction stuff comes up. So I record everything, like everything you see in the video, it's like pre-rendered already. And it really doesn't take much. It really doesn't take much, but I just had to buy a lot of different parts to get that working. But yeah, I don't even edit my videos, which and so That also took a lot of training to not fuck up on camera.
Right.
Not flub my words. And I was already, for me, my videos are very much like, I don't know about anybody else, but like, I mean, I guess most people besides you are different because they don't give thoughtful reviews or whatever. But I was already improving my opinions and stuff when, you know, like whenever I reacted to something, I didn't like suddenly stop the camera recording and then watch it multiple times. I would just, you know, I was recording and then I would just keep going, you know, and then I would talk about my feelings and whatnot. So it was all like off the top of my head anyways. I just had to train myself to get a little bit more clean, like clean it and streamline it. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I have so much respect for that because I find it so amazing that you're able to go for, 7-10 hours straight and that's a lot of listening. That's a lot of brain power. That's a lot of talking, especially since you are, you don't go back to cut anything out. You need to be super articulate and know what you want to say. And
I'm very mouthy.
I was wondering, like, how are you doing mentally? Because I know we have two very different energies on screen, but for me, I can only go like 1 or 2 hours straight before my brain explodes and I have to stop filming myself.
I'm Korean. So that means that I can summon upon the ancestral spirits of my previous ancestors to fuel me to keep going.
I'm Chinese, so I can do that kind of too.
I legitimately don't know what it is, but first of all, when I'm tired, that's when I like get like my second wind. I'm like, I'm tired. All right, I got to work even harder, you know? And I'm a very much and this is also why I don't do drugs, because I know if I did drugs, I would probably die from an overdose, because like everything I do you
go too hard.
Yeah, I go too hard. I do it in excess and I have zero self-control. And so it's almost like it's almost a sickness and a problem. Like I can't control myself. Yeah. And I always view it as like, all right, but it's just another 20 more minutes. It's another 20-minute video. It's another 20 minutes. It's another 20 minutes. Hey, that 20 minutes wasn't so bad. I think I could do another 20 minutes. And then it just, it snowballs like that. Wow. And like occasionally I do have to like take, I always take like an hour break every day. I make sure to take an hour break, walk around a little bit. But mentally, it's only at the expense of my mental health and my
that's a lot, man.
and my physical health and just my health in general. Like I think like every 2 or 3 weeks my body goes through this incredible immense amount of pain where it's telling me, hey, you're dying, and I'm like, one more video, I can do it. I can do it. But
PD.
Listen, it works. I'm not.
It does, but there is going to be like one huge breaking point, I feel.
I mean, I already had one huge breaking point. Like I had a total just like mental collapse
I'm sorry.
last month, but it's just, hey, sometimes you slip, you just got to pick yourself right back up and then just keep on trudging on. I don't know. It's a very Korean mindset of work ethic, and it's why Korea has the number one highest rate of suicide of any first world country. But I don't know. It's just I like to view it as a skill rather than a detriment. Listen, I'll rest when I'm dead. I'll rest when I'm dead. Or I'll rest when I'm filthy rich. That's the goal, Umu.
Yeah, man.
I'm not doing this because, listen, I'm not breaking my back and my body because I love making reactions.
For fun.
Yeah, I'm not doing this because I love making reaction videos. I don't hate it, guys. All right, listen, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I'm not doing this because this is my passion. I'm doing this because
you have an end goal.
I'm doing this because I believe in what I'm doing. And, and you want money. Well, this doesn't make any fucking money.
Which doesn't make money.
Right. But the end game is, yes, I hope one day this somehow will stumble on into a situation in which I can become filthy rich. You know, it's not just that I want money, Umu. I want to be filthy rich. I want to be so rich that I never have to worry about paying rent ever again. That's my goal. Like that's a weird level of rich to hit. Like that's a very specific level of I want to be rich, but that is how rich I want to be. I want to be so rich I never have to worry about rent.
Is there anything on your journey to that final arrival?
Wait, final arrival. Are we talking about death or are we talking about
No. Like the making it, moolah.
Oh, okay.
Bathing and change.
Okay.
What, because that is one final goal that may be, I don't know, perhaps years away. But of course, there are so many times of weakness that we feel because that is so far away. But there are things, you know, that pick us up and keep us going. What events for you? Is it like, for example, for me, it's the occasional shout outs that we get from songwriters or K-pop idols that make me think, oh my God, this is the reason why, you know, like I didn't sleep last night and I was just working constantly on videos and my arms hurt, blah, 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 because I'm making, you know, some small sort of difference in someone who I look up to in their life, right?
Wait, what's your question? Rephrase that. I'm a little
okay.
confused by the actual question. I understand what you just said, but what's the question?
What are the small inspirations that keep you going? Like, when
are we talking about reactions specifically or work in general?
Yeah, going on the channel. Just, creating content for your YouTube.
You know, it varies here and there. I've never done it for like artist recognition.
I mean, me neither. That I never thought that would happen.
Well, I know, you know, but like none of that has like
flakes on the cake.
I mean, it's definitely cool, but none of that has ever like added fuel to my fire. You know, none of that made me go, "Oh, that was worth it." You know, that's just like, "Oh, that's cool." Small things. So. I think for a good chunk in the middle, if I consider right now, not that I'm ending, but if I consider right now the end point and then my start point, a good chunk of the middle of that was just going through the motions, for sure. I mean, I definitely hit a point where I'm like, why am I even doing this? You know, but I was just doing it to do it, you know, because I didn't know what else to do. But the reason I started, you know, I had good intentions when I started. And now it's sort of changed. I don't know. There's never for me a small thing that keeps me going. For me, it's, I don't know, this is going to sound weird, but like for me, it's always been about a higher purpose. And when I first started doing reactions in general, and I would love to know why you started. But the reason why I started is because I view reactions as an incredible valuable thing that I think, first of all, does not get enough credit for, because the way I saw reactions, because I don't watch K-pop reactions, but before doing this, I watched TV show reactions. Because, you know, as a filmmaker, I love drama, and like there's nothing as satisfying as like a really good plot twist that just blows your mind and sends shivers down your entire body. But then it's like a drug. It's like, it's such a momentary feeling and then it's gone, you know?
Right.
And then I'm a very self-analytical person. And so when I was thinking about wanting to start a YouTube channel, I was thinking, why am I watching this? Why am I watching these people rewatch a TV show? And then like, I would like calculate myself while watching a reaction video. I would suddenly feel myself tensing up, waiting for them to get to a moment that I wanted, that I was hoping they would react to or get to. And so then I would think to myself, why am I tensing up like that? Why am I expecting that? And so like I kind of like analytically broke down how I watched reactions and how I consumed reactions. And it's because like when you know, like those plot twists, or like when you listen to a good song for the first time and it blows your mind, it's that endorphin rush is crazy. But even if you try to remember it, even if you re-listen to that crazy mind-blowing song, it doesn't blow your mind away the second time.
It's never going to be the same. It's
like doing drugs. It's like chasing a high that you can't recapture. And I felt like reactions was actually the closest way you could get to recapturing that moment. You know, it's like even to this day, sometimes I'll go back and just rewatch reactions to like a TV show, and like, or like people will say they'll rewatch my reactions to like a music video, and like I get it, because like it's like almost like a jumping back in time, and if you can empathize enough, putting yourself in the shoes of the reactor and feeling that rush for the first time. And so that's why I also never put out negative reactions, because my mindset is always, one, just like, you know, I don't like putting negativity out in the world, but also two, nobody is searching up your reactions to watch you talk shit about somebody.
Reaction. Yeah.
They looked up your reaction, or they looked up, you know, in general, like treasure, you know, I love you. They looked that up specifically because they enjoyed it and they want to see other people enjoy it, you know? And so that was my intention. You know, I wanted to provide this kind of service, right? This ability to recapture and relive in the moment. And then, you know, then I just, you know, I got to a point where I was just like lost, and I was just, you know, just going through the motions. And now I have like a much more different, higher purpose, which is, you know, I feel like at this point I you know, SM's been blocking my videos like constantly now for about
I saw your video
for like 5 months or something.
Yeah.
And I find it a little bit disrespectful at this point. And not because like, hey, treat me right or anything. It's like, yo, I gave you free PR. I praised your shit, not because you asked me to, but because I actually genuinely loved it, and you profited off of that. You know, you made money off my videos. You made at least over, it's got to be at least over $10,000. I mean, easily, you know, given the numbers, like any SM video will easily do like 100K on my channel,
right?
You know, and that's like easily somewhere between like $100 to several $100s, you know? So like easily I've made them over 10 grand, which I guess for like a company like SM isn't much, but it's still something, right? And then to suddenly like have all these blocks, it felt really disrespectful. And I don't know if they're doing it intentionally, or if it's just a weird algorithm trend that my channel's going through. But I felt like, yo, why are there no fucking protections against this? You know? I feel like at this point, we should be at a point where, one, reactors should be allowed to make a living off of this, you know? And people's, you know, I've talked about this before, and people's worries are like, oh, then like all these random reactors that are just doing it for the, you know, doing it for the money or the fame or whatever, then they'll get all rich. But like, isn't that any industry? That's any industry. People who are users will always show up, but also this is hard work. You know, and those people, they're going to show up for like a month or like a couple months, and then they'll drop, you know, it's natural. You have to let natural selection take its place. And so people who are going to thrive, they're going to thrive. And people who are going to buckle under the pressure, they're going to buckle under the pressure. I could name a few YouTubers who had potential in this community and just disappeared, you know? And there are some people who went through big and heavy scandals who just, you know, marched on. Like, you know, I think the biggest example is Briss. You know, Briss got a lot of hate when he first,
because he's passionate.
Yeah, but he
was passionate.
He got a lot of hate when he first started, and Briss made some wrong moves when he first started, you know? But he still thrived on. He learned from his mistakes, and he just kept marching on. So if you're going to make it, you're going to make it. And so I feel like at this point, reactors should be allowed to make Why not be able to monetize that view, or something else? I don't know what else, but something else. Or even split that monetization. Like people who make covers have to split the monetization with the labels, right? So like, why not do like split revenue share like that? That's still something. Or I don't know, just like at least protect,
repost our reaction, like I don't know,
or
some sort of give and take,
or at least like fucking protect us from it. Like I feel like we should just be protected from, like I'm still okay with the format of, hey, fucking put ads on my video. Like some people complain about the ads on my videos. I'm like, I didn't put that there. The music
it wasn't me.
Auto put it there, and I'm okay with these music labels profiting off my videos. Because I understand. I'm completely okay with that. Just let my channel live. Just let it live. I will find some other way to make money. But I am at a point where like we should be a part of the discussion, because I mean, you've seen it, you've felt it. K-pop companies reach out to us, like FNC, Ulim, they Cube, they'll reach out. They'll be like, hey, can you react to our new boy groups, girl groups thing? Can you do that?
They know we exist.
We exist, and they know it's press.
We're super
and
helpful
they know
when it comes back.
And they know that and they know that we're influential. They know that we do sway, not votes, but we do sway public opinion or even just individual opinion, So I feel like, okay, so the companies are coming to us, but they don't offer I mean, I feel like it'd be respectable to even just offer a free album, like a free signed album, right?
Thank you, Cube. Cube's doing good for us.
Yeah, and Cube offers that once in a while. And to their credit, VAV's label always has offered that. I've never taken them up on that, but VAV's label always offers that. But most companies that always reach out never offer you anything in return. It doesn't always have to be money, but this has got to be a give and take. You're telling me to react to your thing, and you're also going to make money off my video, and you're going to get the free press, which I think I actually had a recent thought. I wonder if the music labels even know that they're profiting off our videos.
Good question. Especially since not all the time when like I look at to see who copyrighted, like, it's Cacao for instead of Cube.
It's Cacao or whatever. Or
UMG.
Let's say SM does claim your video, right? SM does copyright claim your video. Why the fuck would anybody in like the music department know anything about copyright policy? You know what I mean? Like, just because SM claimed my video, SM is a company with hundreds of employees. And so most people are not involved in the copyright section of the department. So I wonder if they see YouTubers like us, if they assume what our viewers assume, which is that we're
getting money
we're getting money from this.
Wait, okay, so I did have a conversation with FNC a while back. They were saying, hey, can you react to this? And I said, oh, we'd love to, make a video with our crew as long as we are able to monetize the video, right? Because I don't want to pour, 50 hours or more into a video that they're asking me to do. Let me look up the conversation. And so I said, hey, can we monetize it? And their reply was so interesting. They're so confused. They're like, wait, no one's asked us this before. Like,
right.
They were so confused.
I had a conversation. I unfortunately don't remember with what label. I asked them, hey, can you whitelist this video? They were like, what's whitelisting? And I actually think they have because YouTube is technically, it's very foreign to them. A lot of people kind of don't have a grasp for YouTube. A lot of Korean people don't have a grasp for how YouTube really works. Like, it's just now starting to take off in Korea, Korea had their whole different platform for a really long time. So I'm actually curious if music labels think we make money, and they see us doing well. By doing well, I mean they see us existing. Like I said, natural selection. Like they see we've been doing this for years. They see that our setups get better and whatnot. I wonder, do they even know? Like,
yeah, so I mean, this person didn't. They said, as discussed internally, normally the copyright issue is cleared by the YouTubers, not from us. So I'm afraid we can't help you with this. Can you please try disputing the copyright claim on your side?
yeah.
So they literally had no idea that, the video was copyrighted and that I
Yeah.
wasn't earning money from it.
Yeah. That's,
Oy.
I wonder if that's the case. And shout out to, the only company who like actively has ever like released a claim on my video was Alexa's label, ZB label. But
yeah.
and I didn't even ask for it. They just they just straight up like went out and just released it. And I think they know that's the case because I'm friends with Alex and I tell her about this shit and she knows about this shit. So I wonder if this is something that she communicated to her team, and it's like,
you're friends with Alexa?
Yeah. I knew Alex before she was even a trainee.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I knew Alex. I think.
Is she an LA gal?
No, she's from Oklahoma.
Whoa.
Yeah, she was a Twitter mutual. She was a Twitter mutual, and I knew her. I think maybe 2 years before she became a trainee. But we occasionally still talk, but yeah, that is, I wonder if that's something she communicated to them. I don't know. This sounds like this. I feel like this portion of the podcast has become the largely YouTubers bitching portion of the podcast.
Number one problem.
But it's like, you have to understand, we put in so much work to not get paid. Okay, like we're like, it's like an unpaid internship that lasts forever. Because like I complained about this, and then
my parents are basically
and then I had a comment that said, "Oh, boo-hoo, you can't profit off another artist's work," and I was just like, I don't fucking make money off of this, right? And like, even like, for example, very recently, Espa debuted. Did that reaction. Like, my only solution to this SM blocking shit is to remove the music altogether, right? And so I only react to the videos now. SM will then claim just the video.
Have you tried mirroring it?
No, because, okay, listen, and this is my policy and stance on this. I never alter that. I never alter the video and I never alter the audio, because then you're just trying to get around copyright. And then you're entering like illegal territory once you start mirroring videos, because that means you're altering the original work, not for creative purposes, but for copyright purposes, which makes it illegal. Which I think a lot of people don't get.
Whoa, I did that on a few videos. Oh no. Yeah, because we early on, I think like season 2 or season 3, we had a few videos that were blocked when I first uploaded it. So I said, the only way that I'm going to be able to post this for people is chipmunk it. So I've now discovered that disputes usually work for us, although not when it comes to I use Modern Times album. That is one that keeps evading us, or like any Japanese reaction copyright. Like,
fuck Japanese content. People always like are on my ass about like, can you please check out Twice's new whatever, or Stray Kids new whatever from Japan, right? And I'm just like, y'all don't get it, And then I'll see like all these other, new
channels doing it.
Yeah, all these other channels doing it. One, probably because they don't know. And two, it's like they're just too new to know. But it's just like, I don't know.
Sometimes I wonder how the bots work, because I feel like the channels with more views get blocked quicker. Because there's definitely been, videos that I've reacted to that have gotten blocked, and there's hundreds of smaller accounts who've reacted to it and haven't gotten blocked.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I always tell my viewers as well. They're like, oh, but blah, blah, blah did it. And I'm like, no offense. I don't mean to sound egotistical. Blah, blah, blah ain't me. Like, this company came for my throat immediately. And it's probably because, mine had more views or I have more subs or something like that. You know, I feel like the situation is unique to every person, but like, you know, if people don't know, Japanese copyright policy is basically just anti-YouTube. And it's largely just Japanese content will either get auto-blocked or they will strike you down in the future. And like, I think most people weren't around here for what was it called? People called it the K-pop,
the 2018,
the K-pop-galist, the K-pop apocalypse. Like, there's too many pop in that word, but man, I don't think people know this, but let's see. Did you get a strike at all?
I didn't.
Okay.
I started like putting all of our live videos on as unlisted or like taking, but the thing is that like around 2018, that's when our videos started getting blocked but not striked, like the live stages.
By the way, just as a note, unlisting a video will not protect you from I've learned that. Strikes or blocks. I have a shit ton of unlisted videos from my old group reaction days, and every now and then I'll suddenly get a block. Like, this video has been blocked. I'm like, okay, this has been unlisted for like 2 years, but okay, go on. But the K-pop apocalypse was a time when people were flagrantly reacting to live stage stuff on YouTube, whether live stage performances, award shows, and stuff like that. I was the only channel not doing it. You know, people would request it from me constantly, to the point where like people would get angry. You know, it's like, everyone else is doing it, why aren't you doing it? I'm like, because it's fucking illegal, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, the K-pop quote unquote apocalypse happened and channels got hit with strikes. Like strike.
A few got deleted, right?
Briss got deleted. Briss got deleted. Briss's channel got deleted. And this is when everyone started wisening the fuck up. And I was like, yo, Patreon, it's a thing. Like, look into it. And, you know, and it seems like the cycle has, you know, like, it's been so long since then, and there's like so many new K-pop fans that nobody remembers that time, right? So now you've got people once again doing Japanese reactions, live stage reactions, reacting to like TV shows and stuff like that. And I'm like, ooh, like,
wow,
like there's gonna be a reckoning someday, like.
Or do you think there's a chance that those companies will loosen up and be like, wow, this is great for your promotion, we're not going to strike? Like, I sometimes wonder if, you know, the bigger the reaction community grows, the more.
I mean, that's true. That's true. The bigger the reaction community grows, the more allies we have, you know, strength in numbers. So there's a chance that might happen with Japan. That is not happening with live stage stuff, because that's just a matter of copyright, in the sense that like, you can't rebroadcast televised content. Like, that's just straight up illegal. And so that's why people got taken down for the live stage reactions. You cannot repurpose live TV footage. That is illegal. And just, But I mean, I feel
Patreon.
Yeah, so, you know, Patreon has largely become the destination for that. You know, I wanted to ask you something, but I don't remember what it is. There's just so much talking that I lost my train of thought. But I mean, have you watched any of the new releases that came out recently?
Today, yes, I marathoned a ton.
Oh, really? So are you releasing like solo stuff?
No, so I'm taking a break. I am on hiatus. I've been on hiatus since the beginning of November, or like the end of October. Because, like what we were talking about earlier, I was wondering how you're doing mentally with appearing in front of the camera and then editing and then working on social media. And what I've started to realize is that I'm stretching myself too thin. And so I just wouldn't have the energy to appear in front of the camera. Or if I did appear in front of the camera, then I would be up editing and posting on, you know, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram till like 4 a.m. and then getting huge anxiety dreams because I realized, oh my God, okay, I got to work. I got to do all this tomorrow. And so it started just cycling and getting to be too much, in where like every single day my heart rate was constantly at 120. And so we were trying to figure out, was it my diet or was it stress and anxiety? And like I started going to therapy again and started, she was like, you need to have an end to your workday. So I realized, okay, I am going to have to take a step back and not appear in front of the camera.
That's what I did for myself. Like I said, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. If I stretch myself, sometimes 7 p.m. But you need to have an end to your workday. You need to have an end to your workday.
So since then, that's helped. My heart rate is back to normal.
Yeah.
What
you need is good sleep and
also a weekend. I did not give myself a weekend before.
Me too. And when I moved, I moved into a house, right? Like one of the testaments and meccas, like, well, I was listening to a quarantine podcast called Staying at Home with Kumail and Emily. You guys should check that out. They gave a lot of great quarantine advice. But Kumail, he's a writer. Well, he and his wife are both writers. But an advice they gave that was eye-opening to me was, do not work on the weekends. Give yourself, just because you work a creative job does not mean that you shouldn't have the structure of what a normal job has, because then you're going to stretch yourself out thin, and it's just health-wise also really bad for you, and you have to treasure/value your weekends, So even if somebody wants to take a meeting on a weekend, go the extra mile and be like, hey, can we do this on a Monday? Can we do this on Tuesday or whatever?
Wow.
And, do not work on weekends. Only reserve weekends for yourself. And so now, that's also what I do. I work my ass off Monday through
during the week.
Monday through Friday. But then on the weekends, I will either just I waste my weekends majority sleeping. Like, I will take a nap and then all of a sudden,
if that's what your body needs.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's nighttime, But wow. So how long are you on hiatus for then?
Honestly, okay, so part of me is thinking I don't really want to do solo reactions anymore. I love being behind the camera. I love giving life to this channel through, just hardcore spending 20 hours editing one video. I love, doing the business and networking and reaching out to people to interview them and coming up with those interview questions. I just love being the person behind the scenes. Because another part of it is that I know that there is a good part of my channel that really does prefer my reactions, over, the whole crew reacting. But still, I have this terrible, what is it called? Habit of every single day after I release a video, seeing how many people subscribed or unsubscribed on that video. And I've noticed that
never look at your analytics.
Reactions, people unsubscribe. On the majority of my reactions, people unsubscribe, while the other videos, they get more views and they get more subscribers. So why on earth would I, keep, sacrifice 5 hours of my day to do a personal reaction?
No look at numbers. No look at numbers. I did that very, very early on. And like when I uploaded a video and I lost like 10 subscribers, I was like, why did they leave? And now like you have to get to a point where you're like, you gotta stop giving a shit, and you gotta stop giving a shit. And at a certain point, I'm not saying our viewers aren't people, but you have to draw the line. In certain instances, you have to view your audience as just numbers. Like in that instance, it's just a number. Like I got way too caught up and hung up on like, why didn't they like me? Why did they leave?
Yeah.
But like, if that is going to hurt you like that, you have to either not look at it or you have to be like, that's just a number. Those are just numbers.
Yes, yeah. I'm working on that super hard. So I do think I will make a comeback, especially if I'm able to start earning enough money to hire a social media manager. That's the thing that's taking up most of my time, Twitter and Instagram, editing little teasers for that.
Well, I'll say this. If you don't want to be in front of the camera, if you enjoy being behind the camera and your channel's main thing is not derived from you being in front of the camera, right. I would say don't do it. I would say you need to quit and you need to just not look back, and maybe even just like keep it exclusive for Patreon. Then on Patreon,
Yeah, that was something I was considering.
If you do it on Patreon, that's less pressure, especially in terms of like I said, you wouldn't even have to edit it, Like people on Patreon are like, listen, just give us the content. You don't need to get fancy with it. And I'm like, okay. And I feel like I have backed myself into a corner. I cannot stop. Like I have considered like, man, I wish I could just stop my main reaction series on my channel and only react to literally when I want to instead of everything that comes out and pursue other stuff on my channel. But my Patreon has grown so big that like I've unfortunately put myself into a cycle where I need to feed the beast, Me reacting to literally everything is what keeps my Patreon going, because at the end of every month, I'm sure you've gone through this too, I will lose somewhere between 100. Like, I will lose like 500, patrons. Like at most I've lost like 1,000, So then I'm like, okay, this month I got to grind harder to make that back up. Right.
Yeah.
So it's, and I always make it back up. And so it's like, it's always this process of like, I got to feed the beast. And so until I can come up with another steady revenue income source, I think it's too risky now to quit. It's too risky for me to quit or even take a hiatus. Like I really want a month-long hiatus, but I don't think I can do that. And like,
dude. Yeah,
and it's not.
That's what I did.
Wait,
it's so scary.
And then what?
Because when we were transferring from last year, and the fact that we weren't able to film all the reactions that would last until this school year started back up again, we had a month or two in which the main series didn't go up at all, and just watching the numbers, dwindle.
Yeah, it's so it's like you started that CMR beast, so you have to keep feeding the beast, right? And so if you appearing on camera is not a staple thing on your channel yet, and it's not hugely beneficial to your channel or crucial to your channel, I feel like don't make it. Like don't make it, and because if it does get to that position, you're going to get to a point where again, you can't stop, And I wish I could not care about money, but I'm supporting like my entire family now. So it's just like, I have no fucking choice.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so I'm kind of, in the middle of everything right now, just like, should this, stretch on forever? Or the thing is that what's holding me back is that classical musicians react, since it takes so long to produce every single episode, and I don't have an infinite amount of time to film with the people on the crew, since they're students and we have breaks where we all go back home, and no one has, actual legit, filming or mic or, lighting setup. So that, I only have like 2 months, and then we're off for 3 months, and then, another 2 months, that type of stuff. We can't react to everything. And so when I do film my personal reactions, it's, there's almost less complaining. Like, they're like, oh, we need a reaction to this. And then, I release my reaction, and there's, the occasional like, oh, then your crew should react to it too. But the majority of our viewers are like, okay, cool. They reacted to this comeback. We're not angry. Yeah. So I feel like I fill the void in which, like, if a song doesn't make it to the Classical Musicians React series, I'm able to put out something.
That is something.
I'm able to, satisfy that section of our fandom.
That is something I wish I could also get over, which is, I think this might have to be another cold turkey thing. Like, because I actually read the comments to see what people thought about on a song. That's why I say it, let me know what you thought. But there's this requesting culture, but then there's also this culture of, you didn't react to blah, 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 so I guess you hate them now. It's like, yo,
oh gosh, that hurts.
Chill. I just haven't gotten to it. Like, give me a break. Like I can only film so many in one day, and I film these videos at random, And so that whole like, and here's the problem. It's like, it's such an immature train of thought, because I don't know, for like I don't even know what group to name, but like, let's say let's say I have reacted to every title track from this group, since the beginning of their debut or whatever, right? And I just haven't reacted to it within the 2-3 days it came out, And then they're like, oh, I guess you hate them now. And
even if you don't react to one single music video of theirs, if you've, reacted to every single one, and you don't, like one of their releases just really, really isn't your cup of tea, and then they're like, wow, you unstand them, didn't you? Or are you going to react to them anymore just because you skipped one song?
Yeah, and it's
one
like,
song, guys!
Like, my thing is like, give me some fucking, give me some fucking credit, like, in the sense that, like, I built up this history, right? You would think that we had built up at least some kind of a trust, It's like, you should know I love this group, So I'm either going to get to it or I just didn't like it, And it's so black or white. And I'm,
shades of gray.
It's frustrating.
Like Stella Jung says in her song Villain, the world is a bunch of shades of gray and things are not black or white as they may seem, except in her song Villain, it's like some, you may be a villain even though you pretend you're the hero. But in our case, no, we do not hate a group if we suddenly, don't react to a song or two. There's more than just liking every single song a group releases.
Yeah. And,
right.
I don't want to make myself sound elitist by saying this, but I don't hate any group. I'm going to make this very clear. There's not a single group that I hate because I'm not one of those people.
Are there actually people who despise a group? I don't know how one can do that.
I've seen comments. I've seen comments on my videos. I've seen comments on other people's videos. Some people hate X fandom because X fandom has said this horrible, horrible shit about their fandom, right? So they hate this group and that fandom. But then that same group that's accusing this other group of saying something horrible will go around and say just as many horrible things. I think what people I don't know why people keep doing this. It's the same person who said something horrible to you is not the same person who's being nice. Right. The fandom is millions of people, like even 1,000 bad apples don't represent 1,000,000 people, Yeah. But I'll always see this back and forth. There are, I feel like, signature hated groups, and every group thinks they're the only group that's hated in the world. They think everybody is after them. But I think as a YouTuber who watches everything, and so I have like an overview perspective of everyone's fighting and bickering, I can tell you it's all the same. Yeah. It's all the same. Everybody is mean to each other. Everybody is just mean to each other, fighting over this or that, and just like, guys, it's music. Like, come on. I forgot who said it, but it's just K-pop. Somebody said that. Yeah, I forget who. Might have been Desi. I don't know, but somebody was like, "It's just K-pop. Like, it's just like, calm down. It's just music." It's like, wow, like we're really like fighting over music. Like, countries have gone to war for, less. I don't know. It's just.
It's I mean, it's something that I, think about on occasion and have discussions with friends about just the whole community. And I mean, it's just human nature, misunderstandings, not being able to, hear tone of voice.
Oh, yeah.
Just
and anonymity. Just something about the anonymity of the internet brings out the worst in some people.
Something that I've wanted to talk about, but I haven't found the specific time for, is my final project. When I started doing digital media studies at the university attached to my music school, we had to create something that would solve a problem, and it had to be related to technology. And so just around the time, I think it was before Sully's death, I just randomly realized, like, I think someone left a hate comment on my video, and I was about to just go off at them. And before I do that, I tend to run what I say by my close group of friends or my parents or something. And they always tend to tell me, pause, breathe, wait 24 hours, then see if you want to say that tomorrow. And that made me realize, I did that. And the next day I was like, oh yeah, no way I want to say this. I can just, kindly reply with something else.
You're like, I want to make it worse.
All these, yeah, it will just make it worse. That's the thing. You get hurt, then you hurt them, and then just the hurt grows. And so I realized I want to make something that will be the pause button for those who don't have something that will pause them before they say something that they might regret. And so I came up with, my group and I came up with a computer plugin, a Google Chrome plugin, that it would, someone, we only had enough time to figure it out for Twitter. But if someone's typing something hurtful on Twitter, we'd have this database that would recognize, millions of combinations of words or spellings. Like, of course, we wouldn't be able to catch anything, but we'd at least get to recognize the majority of the basics. So someone would say, F you, I'm going to hunt you down and kill you. The second, they type the word that is recognized, a few screens will pop up, and they'll have, we were researching like what we could say that would make them pause and think for a minute. And we'd have, there's like the back button, and if they press back, then it would erase everything that they had said, so they have a chance to retype. If they press the continue button, first the continue button doesn't pop up for a very long time, so they have to sit there on that screen unable to publish anything, right? So we're giving them like 10 seconds for them to, their anger to sink in and make them think further. And we display a message of just saying, hey, you are saying this to this person. Are you sure you want to say this? Just a reminder that they are someone like you, just, behind their own screen. And then they would press the continue button, like, yeah, I want to say this. Then another screen would pop up, and it would just be like another saying that would be like, okay, please be aware. Like, the thing would be like, okay, I am aware that I'm about to say this to this person, and this is, my true intentions. And then if you press continue again, then you'd be able to submit it. But it gives you that, like 20, 30 seconds of time to really think about it. And then we were thinking that maybe the Chrome plugin would be able to count the amount of times that you actually click continue versus back. And then so like give you gold stars, or like show you like a graph at the end of each month of how you've improved, or just, flatlined or something, depending on, pressing forward or not. Like, of course, it's not going to solve internet bullying or anything, but it worked for me. And if it worked for me, it'll work for some people. And so we were thinking, okay, we can either target parents for this to, start teaching their young kids. Like, I talked to several therapists of what they thought about it. And basically what we're trying to do is teach empathy, because a lot of parents just don't see empathy as something, as a priority to teach. And so that would be what this app would be for, maybe middle schoolers or late elementary schoolers. And then there would be like a version of the app for kids where you maybe will have different colors and GIFs that would pop up. And then there would be a version for, adults or teenagers to put on their own computers to be like, okay, actually, I'm, just looking at myself and I don't want to put hurt out into the world. Like, it won't solve everything, but I thought that that'd be just something cool to put out there for people to take a pause.
Umu, I know,
reflect. Yeah.
I know what you're saying is important, and we just literally talked about all this bullying stuff, but did you just say GIF?
Oh, yeah! I'm sorry, I'm a GIF person, man.
Get
GIF,
out of
GIF,
my
GIF,
podcast
GIF,
right
GIF,
now.
GIF, GIF,
Question.
Okay, bye.
No, question. Why GIF? Why GIF and not GIF?
Because all my friends call it GIF. I was raised saying GIF.
I
so
see.
Therefore,
So
I can say GIF.
you're a sheep, is what you're saying. You're just
Aren't we all sheeps?
Nah, you gotta be a
At
wolf.
one
You gotta be
or
a
other time in our
wolf.
life.
You gotta be a wolf.
Are you a wolf because you're a GIF person? I mean, hey, what's wrong with being a wolf and calling it a GIF versus a sheep and calling it a GIF? They're both cool animals, useful for different things. Therefore, both GIF and GIF.
But the sheep doesn't eat the
should
wolf for
exist.
dinner. I'm just saying. But it's listen, the creator of the word also calls it GIF. And here's the thing. Creators can be wrong, okay? Just because they made something doesn't mean they're right about it. And it's GIF. The word is graphical. It's graphical interface format. It's GIF. It's
okay.
And here I thought
I'm not going to change my ways.
Here I thought you were a perfect human being. And here I thought you were a perfect human being with absolutely zero flaws.
No flaws.
with zero flaws.
I have many flaws.
I've just exposed
Apologies.
you. There's like the two people that are listening.
Is your whole fandom gonna come after me?
Yeah, the two people that are listening right now, because I'm sure there's some crossover between people who listen to or watch my content, also watch your content. You've just offended. You've just offended them. You've just offended them with your GIF talk. My phone is going off.
That sounded like a sheep, meaning your phone's agreeing with me. I heard him.
Well, okay, this isn't going to help prove my point, but
I'm right.
my text tone is actually, it's someone going, mm-hmm. Like technically it is the sound of someone agreeing. But yeah. So when the fuck are you gonna come out here to the West Coast? You've been.
I'm here right now.
Well, okay, I know that, but I meant.
You mean
a permanent relocation?
Like live?
Yeah, permanent relocation because you've been talking and toying with this idea for at least 2-3 years now. Like. Yeah. You've been talking about it for a hot minute. Like, when's that gonna happen?
Okay, I was going to say next year, but I recently learned that Adrian McKinnon moved to Texas, and he was one of the reasons why I wanted to move to LA, so I could feature him on the channel more often. And then also, I got a really good crew of reactors this year.
Are you telling me you're not gonna fucking move to the West Coast again?
I am in limbo. I am unsure. And it's just so cheap. I don't have to pay for heat. And like we haven't been charged electrical. Like it's so cheap in Rochester.
How cheap is it?
Great.
How cheap is it in Rochester?
How much am I paying?
Okay, what kind of a situation are you living in and how much are you paying?
I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment in downtown in the city. So usually they're pretty expensive. It's literally like 2 minutes away from the Eastman School of Music.
Okay.
And I'm paying like $500.
Wait, are you
and then internet on top of that?
Are you splitting the rent?
Yeah, I'm 2-bedroom with someone else, yeah.
Sorry. What's the whole rent for this apartment? Just the rent.
How much is it? Let me go on my PayPal.
But if you're
just numbers to me.
I mean, I assume you guys are splitting it even, right? Or no?
Yes.
So then your rent would be 1,000, would it not?
I think it's a little bit more than that.
A little bit more. But
it's a really good deal, man. It's
dude,
I mean, our place is tiny though.
Okay,
yeah. It's 500 and we're paying like $507 each.
500. So basically 1,000. Not even 1,100. 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
My small office in LA is 1,200.
It was like, yeah.
My small office in LA is 1,200.
See?
And
see why I'm maybe not wanting to move to LA.
my one bedroom apartment in Koreatown. So I didn't even live in downtown. I lived in friggin' Koreatown, which is like super shitty. That was $1,600 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment. Yo, Rochester.
Come to Rochester. We're 6 hours away from New York City, 2 hours from Toronto.
6 hours from New York
many
City.
hours away
That's
from
kind of a
everywhere
lot.
else.
That's kind of a lot.
It is a lot.
6 hours.
It's a full day bus trip.
Yeah, because I mean, LA at least it's a 4-hour drive from me, but
oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're equidistant from LA.
Equidistant.
Right?
Well, yeah, because you're in. I don't want to say it out loud, but
southern of LA.
You're in the. Yeah, you're in that one part of Southern California.
Surfer gang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably to you it would only take me like 3 hours. Probably to you. Maybe 3.5, something like that. But I don't know. Like, first of all, I'm living in a 3-story house right now. I'm never gonna do that ever again. Fuck that shit. It's too many stairs. Too many stairs.
I'm guessing your cats are loving it.
Oh, my cats fucking love it. But too many stairs. Well, my house
to exercise.
My house also, the problem is like it's really too many stairs. So to get to the ground floor outside, right? So the ground floor would be like where the cars are, right? So that's where we take out our trash and stuff. So taking out trash is a huge ordeal because to get inside our house, we have to take a few flights up, then it turns left, and you take another few flights up. One sec. Then there's the door. You go in. There's no place to go immediately. You have to either go up or down. So once you enter our door, after taking like a flight of stairs, it either goes down. It either goes down into the 4th bedroom or the garage. So like a basement type deal, but it's a garage. Or you have to go up if you want to go into the living room. So and our living room and kitchen is like, next to each other, right? So, and then after that, you have to go up 2 flights of stairs to then go to the other 3 bedrooms where we sleep and shit. So even to just...
How are your knees doing?
Yeah, so even to just get to the living room is about 4 flights of stairs. And that's way too many stairs. That's way too many stairs. And I thought that'd be cool. I thought like, this is going to be cool. Never again. Question is whether or not I'm going to have enough money to move when my lease is up.
Would you move back to LA or just into a smaller place?
So it's going to depend on what the situation with the pandemic is by next May. The easiest thing for us to do would be to just renew our lease, obviously. It's either that or it's to move back to LA. But the problem with moving back to LA is it would just be so expensive. And we would have to get somewhere smaller, which again, I don't mind smaller, but smaller for more money sounds like a fucking ripoff to me. Like I'm almost tempted to stay in Vegas, but just a smaller place, which would make moving a lot cheaper too, because you don't have to move out of state. But also at the same time, I kind of want to travel a lot before I settle down, before I get, married and fucking have kids and I can't do that anymore. Like, I don't, because here's my problem right now. I don't know where I want to settle down. I don't know where I want my permanent base of operations to be. I think LA, but LA is just so expensive. And I would need a lot of money to consider living in LA, or I would need a really good career to consider living in LA. Because right now I can just easily commute back and forth. Texas was also up for consideration. And then there's apparently Rochester, which is apparently cheap. I also considered Hawaii.
Where Dre is right now.
Yeah,
right?
Dre is in Hawaii right now. And I was looking into like the rent over there. It is not bad for a really, really nice. It is not bad, and you get a really nice, sweet house and a sweet view. That's the thing. But I'm just too paranoid about volcanoes. I know that's unrealistic, but I'm just too paranoid about volcanoes.
Yeah, interesting.
Like just deciding to move next to a volcano. Like, I never thought a global pandemic would happen in my lifetime, but it did.
Right.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, what if a volcano erupts and then I die? You know, so
yeah, you wouldn't want to live stressed, with that in the back of your mind every single day.
Yeah. But
gray hairs developed early on.
I mean, I actually used to have gray hairs in high school. I don't know. I don't develop gray hairs anymore. I think I was a lot more stressed out in high school though. I was a lot more neurotic. I mean, what were you like in high school? I just imagine you were just like
I was insane.
First of all,
I was a weirdo.
A weirdo. First of all, I imagine you were a huge nerd. Am I correct?
Oh my God. Huge nerd. I was the person that, all the popular kids would come up to for help with your homework and stuff. But I was also like a huge anime geek. So my group of friends and I would like run around high school with either PJs or cosplay.
No.
And I would also like, the thing about my high school is that no one really judged you for anything. So like a ton of the school was super comfortable with just doing whatever they wanted. And like cliques, there weren't many cliques. Like, of course you would be put into, stereotyped into the group that you're with, but a lot of, what you would perceive as the popular kids would hang out with the nerds and stuff. And so because I was able to be myself like that, I was just kind of wild. I was a wild nerd, unapologetic wild nerd.
What the?
I would say. So like it was
not what I was expecting.
Oh my God, high school, man. I feel like super, super lucky because I feel like my happiest days were in middle school and high school.
Wow. Yeah, I remember you telling me this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had this discussion.
Yeah, I remember you telling me, like, I think you said you were happiest in like high school, middle school. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck kind of school did she go to? Oh my God. I'm looking at homes in Rochester right now.
And how cheap they are.
Holy Holy shoot. Holy shishka. Oh my God. 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 This is worse than Vegas. This is cheaper than Vegas. Oh my God.
But like for depending on what career you want to have, it might not be the best place.
Yeah, but like right now I work on the internet, and that could be done from anywhere. And
yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. No, seriously, with how cheap this is, I could get a house in Rochester and have a cheap studio apartment in LA for when I travel.
Oh.
Like the reason why I'm holding on to my LA office is whenever I do go to LA, I need somewhere to stay. And I don't, and you know how expensive hotels are, right? Like literally
so expensive.
Literally a hotel, they'll say that they're $100 a night, right? But then when you like, okay, I want to do 2 nights. Reasonably, that should be $200. But when you check out, it's like $400. They're like, hey, resort fee every single night. And like, there's all these fees when you're getting a hotel,
But they sneak in.
Yeah, exactly. And I needed a base of operations, so that's why like I kept my LA office, and also I painted the shit out of that place. So I'm not gonna go back during a pandemic to return it to its original state. But oh my God,
yeah.
Okay, I'm genuinely considering.
Yeah, no, see why like I'm so torn about moving back to the West Coast, because it's so cheap, and that is where I have set my foundation.
I'm looking at how much a house costs in Rochester. Like actually buying one. Oh my God. Majority, a handful of them are under $100,000. Like literally, so obviously I don't have $100,000 to my name. I don't even have I'm barely paying rent this upcoming month. It was a difficult month, but I am like in the mindset of like wanting to get a house, like work on my credit and then get like a loan and get a house, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just looking, I mean,
Rochester makes it doable.
LA is like you need to spend like 600 to 800K for a nice house in LA. And by nice house, I mean a good house, not even like a swanky house, you know, like 800K for like a typical white picket fence type of home that's in a good neighborhood. Vegas, you can get away with a nice house for about 400K.
Oh my God.
Rochester, everything
yeah.
is roughly 100K.
It's great.
Okay, hold on. This house looks really nice, but this one's 3,000 square foot. The thing about Rochester I'm seeing is that the square footage is actually really small. A lot of them are roughly only about 1,000 square foot. This one's 3,000 square foot. This place is huge. Oh my God. And
they have some really beautiful places.
The
thing is that, I mean, at least we're high. Oh.
No. 400,
so yeah, it does
400K for a 3,000 square foot house is insane. It has a huge back balcony with a view. Oh my God. Oh my, I'm literally going to pitch
Will
this.
You move to Rochester with us?
Honestly.
See what Meg thinks?
Honestly, I would fucking consider it. Like here's the thing. Because if I move out to somewhere like fucking Rochester, there has to be one condition. I would have to get a house, because my one qualm about living rent wise is like I'm such a building type of nerd and like creating my own sets. Like I want to I'm like, hey, this room's not big enough. I want to break down these walls, or I want to build a partition wall right here, but I can't do any of that here, you know, because I'm living under rent.
With place rented.
Yeah.
Right?
And like even just like painting my house, I had to pay $1,000 deposit just to get the landlord's permission to paint certain rooms in the house. And I have to paint it back when I move out. It's so much fucking work. And I don't know. Listen, I've been to Rochester, so I spent about what was it? Was it a month?
2 weeks? Was it a month? It might have been. Honestly.
It was either a month or 2 months that I was in Rochester. Okay. It was at least a month. Okay. I spent a really long time in Rochester. I will say that place is creepy as fuck. It looks like where the Salem witch trials probably took place. Like all the trees are dead, and I'm not talking like dead as
you visited during the winter,
and I'm not talking like California dead, like California trees are dead. I'm talking like it's like those long wicker branches where like
come during
it
the
looks
fall.
all creepy and shit.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It was so creepy, and like I think like there's no like it felt like there was no real nightlife there. So then like I think it was like 6 p.m. and the sun was down. And like downtown was like completely deserted. And I was like, this is scary. It's like night.
Well, also like you hung out in the student area. So like probably I think
well, even just like the drive back to your house, even just the drive back to your house, I'm like, there are no cars on the road. Oh my God. This place is not densely populated.
Nice. Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's nice. Maybe it's nice once you live there for a while. But in the beginning, I was like, oh my God. Kevin is like taking me to a cemetery to murder me. Like,
and he's gonna murder you.
Yeah, like I'm like, where are we going? And it's like, we're going to our house. I'm like, what the fuck where the fuck is their house? Like, okay.
So there is like some places like, you know, just outside of where we drove you to, like near the universities, that have, you know, rows of cottages and just beautiful, beautiful neighborhoods. that we weren't able to show you.
Cottages sound even creepier. No, thank you.
Oh no, they're so
I'll
cute.
I'll stick to as close to downtown as possible. I have a question.
But that's the creepy dead area.
I have a question. First of all, is this the right Rochester that I'm looking at? I see the words like
oh my gosh.
Iron de Croix, Ellison Park, Highland Park.
Highland Park, yes. You're at the right place.
Genesee Valley
Highland
Park.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the right Rochester. There was a different Rochester earlier, and that was not the right Rochester.
Were you actually looking at houses there?
Yes, I'm legitimately just looking at houses in Rochester right now because this is also like a hobby of mine. I just like looking at houses.
You're looking at houses.
I just look at houses and think of like, what could be? So like Ellison Park, is that a good neighborhood?
I am unsure. Dude, I've spent my whole life in either a practice room or in my room. So
you don't know your surrounding areas?
I do not.
Oh my god.
At all.
Oh
Apologies.
Oh
there is
what?
You might want to look up, there was a giant shooting.
What?
That was in Rochester. Okay, not a giant. No, a giant? No, it wasn't. Yes, no. I can't remember. There was a shooting. Because, there are some definitely, pockets of very, very, very sketchy areas.
Well, listen, there are shootings in California all the time. That doesn't really necessarily stop me. Oh my God, this is a 6-bedroom house. Whoa. And it's only $300K and it's...
I also heard Tennessee is really, really good with prices.
I'm Asian.
Okay. Oh, true. I spent like a few months in Tennessee, and I was like, when am I going to see an Asian?
Yeah, I
okay, that's out of option.
I can't. I'm Asian. I genuinely
end of conversation.
I genuinely fear being around too many white people. I genuinely.
I mean, yeah.
I sometimes go out with my partner and I'm just like, and sometimes like, I don't know. I see certain white people and like they look at me and I'm like, nope. The way you're looking at me makes me feel uncomfortable. And like, it's only a type of look I've gotten ever since I started dating her. Someone who's white,
Ooh.
So I don't know. I have a question. What about South Wedge? South Wedge or
sorry.
What about Brighton?
I'm sorry.
Or Highland Park?
Well, I mean, all I know about Highland Park is that on my first day of school, they had us clean up trash there together.
All right, never mind.
Kevin, please message Kevin. Kevin has more knowledge about Rochester.
Oh man.
Or even Jared. I think he might have some family that lives in Rochester.
Yeah, isn't Jared from Rochester?
Is he?
I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Yes, I think so. I'm 98.99%.
I would honestly consider moving my setup out there. I would honestly consider this.
Yeah, choose a good neighborhood and you'll get a beautiful house. I mean, just as long as you aren't a party person.
I'm not. I have a question. So it looks like there's an airport in Rochester.
Mm-hmm, Rochester Airport.
Does that fly direct to LA or no?
Unknown. I've always personally gone from Rochester to Chicago or Baltimore to where I live, so I'm not sure.
So that sounds like a no. There's no direct flight. Let me ask, how much is usually a flight from Rochester to LAX? Round trip.
Are you asking me or
I would be asking you. Who else would I be asking?
Because I've never flown to LA from Rochester.
What?
But to my place round trip is $500 or sometimes during the pandemic it's hella cheap. It's like $200 round trip.
Yeah. Oh my god. Listen, you got to see going to I think New York City. I just randomly looked up flights the other day. Going to New York City is like $250 round trip right now from LAX to New York. Dude. And I was like tempting, but no, I don't want to die.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you wear gloves, if you wear double mask and the shield thing, so far I think I've been able to avoid it.
Yeah, but that's if you need to travel. You needed to travel because of your family.
Yeah.
I don't need to travel to New York because, afterwards, at least for you, after the travel part, you're in your home, right? And you can just quarantine, stay in your home. I can't fly to New York and then
lose 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can't fly to New York, quarantine in a hotel for 2 weeks. First of all, the amount of money that would cost just to quarantine in a hotel.
No, see if Jared has a room that he can quarantine you in.
And then, this is also the upside of if I have a studio apartment in LA, that's only, I'm paying $800 on it or something. Or even I'm almost tempted to people are always looking for roommates. I would be the perfect roommate where I'm I just need a room and I will never be there. I need a room and I need Wi-Fi, and just rent a room in somebody's place, And I feel
damn.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'd say 400, around 400 to 500 is round trip from my area.
That's pretty good. 400, $500 a month, maybe. When I previously lived in Vegas, I only went out to LA once a month. And so
but that's, that's gas. So definitely less expensive.
No. I took, I took flights because they're only an hour. But, but I went out once a month, but I'm talking about in terms of if I only ever need to go once a month, in terms of work, because usually it's a concert, and honestly, I might, first of all, actually, if it's concerts and shit, I don't even have to go to LA. I would just go to New York.
Or Toronto.
Why Toronto?
Because a lot of acts go to Toronto, and Toronto's only a 2-3 hour drive.
Toronto's closer than New York?
Yeah, man. We're super north.
I would love that. I love downtown Toronto. It's a second home. Right? Downtown Toronto, Dundas Square is one of the nicest. It's like Times Square in New York, but not as fucking crowded and clean and not dirty and smelly.
And no guns. No chance of guns. Or, slight chance.
Did you encounter guns in New York?
No, but I feel
What?
When the last time I was in Toronto, there's this feeling that I get whenever I go to Canada of, I don't know, whether it's the people being nice or just the air.
I do feel, I think I know what you mean. It's
if
this
there's a change.
Yeah. It's this kind of oh, Toronto. Yeah. This is
exactly.
Nice. Yeah.
So we were talking about that, all of the reactors who traveled there felt that, and the local people were is it because guns are illegal? And we're maybe.
I don't think it's guns necessarily, but more so the culture of I'm sure there's crime in Canada, but you don't hear about the massive amount of crimes in Canada compared to the US.
Mm-hmm.
I feel you just feel safer. You know how I think it's when you're in an unsafe neighborhood in LA and then you suddenly wind up in a safe neighborhood, it feels nicer, it's this sense of safety. And I feel that's what it is, and I also do like that. It also doesn't feel completely foreign. If you go to Korea or some other country,
slightly recognizable.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels recognizable, and yet a new adventure at the same time.
But at the same time, you also don't feel like a tourist. You understand the culture enough where you don't feel completely lost. I loved Canada. Honestly, I loved Canada. Wow, Rochester, seducing me. Oh my goodness. Is Vegas not
It is not a bad place.
Maybe. Honestly, you've tempted me. You've lured me. I'm legitimately gonna pitch this. I'm not joking.
Great.
Yeah. I think we need to wrap up the podcast, because I'm looking
Has it been 2 hours?
Yeah, I'm looking at the recording time and we just hit the 2 hour mark. I haven't even been looking at my recording time because my browser was up and I was looking at houses in Rochester. But but this is what always happens with Umu. Whenever we start talking,
we can go on forever.
We can nerd out and go on for hours. And, I wanted Umu as a permanent co-host, but unfortunately, Umu's so busy. I would love you as a permanent co-host, but Umu's apparently so busy and, she's way too fancy for us with her.
Oh, never. Never too fancy.
How many subs are you at now?
Less than TKTKTV.
Come on, you know the number. Say it. You know the number.
688K.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, you know the number to a T because you look at those numbers. But
yeah, that's a habit. I'm needing to.
Yeah, I definitely want Umu as a permanent co-host, but unfortunately, she's busy when she's in Rochester.
I promise. You know what? Eventually, I can't say it would be anytime soon, but when I do get more help and my availability opens up, maybe that will be possible one day. But
listen, I'm telling you, this podcast is gonna pop off. And I'm gonna be getting sponsors and shit, and then who's gonna come crawling? But
oh yeah, sponsors now. Okay.
I mean, you should consider either starting a podcast or just joining mine because this was actually something that was brought up to me. They were like, instead of doing a solo podcast, you should consider doing one with Umu because you guys separate. Sure, you guys might, have a somewhat successful podcast, but like really successful podcasts, is like two interesting voices coming together.
Yeah.
And the idea was that, we could probably get a bigger audience with our podcast if it's like both of us, especially because we have such like, I feel like very different ways of looking at things and different perspectives of looking at things, but don't fucking fight and bicker about it, So,
and if we do, it's playful.
Yeah, I feel like it's a spirited debate, But
no hard feelings.
Umu is on break till like January something, so we can have her on multiple times until then.
Yes.
And hopefully the next time we have Umu on, we can actually talk about some K-pop related stuff because
instead of Rochester, New
York.
Oh
yeah. I'm sure nobody is tuned in by this point. I'm sure like 5 minutes into the Rochester conversation, they were like, what the fuck? Why am I hearing them talk about real estate? So I'm sure people tuned out. Like I literally I had like a whole list of all of these different topics and current event stuff, but we got to none of it because we got to none of it because
right off the bat.
Well, I will say I think it's just because also it's Umu's first time on the podcast, so like we were also sort of catching up, but also I think telling the people about our origins, how we met, and kind of like going over all of that. And then I think in the future, we can definitely have a more K-pop centric discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah. But yeah, that was it. Thank you everyone for listening to the Culture Study Podcast. Umu, where can people find you? If people have never heard of you before, where can they find you?
I would say if you're interested in the content I make, the places to go would be YouTube for ReacttotheK or our Instagram ReacttotheK_official, or if you are interested in who I am as a human being, most of my social media handles are Umukado. Or you could follow the 20 Tumblr blogs that I somehow still keep updated.
That's Umukado, Umucado. That's Umu and avocado. What's your fascination?
I like avocados.
Yeah, what's your fascination with avocados? I gotta ask.
I think I started tweeting about a lot of recipes with that feature avocado in them. Mm-hmm. And so people started saying, wow, you really like avocado. They started really associating avocados with me. And then a fan said, oh, Umukado. And I was like, oh, yes.
That's a very California thing of you.
Woo! California!
Yeah. I mean, for context, she lives in Rochester, New York, but she's from Southern California.
Yes.
You know, as they say,
which
you can take the girl out of California, but you can't take the California out of the girl. But guys,
is that an actual saying?
Well, I mean, it's always you can take the something out of something, but you can't take the something out of something. But
you learn something new every day.
Yeah, everyone, thank you very much for listening. I promise when we have Umu on again, we'll
do K-pop.
Yeah, we'll actually do some K-pop related topics. I mean, not that this wasn't, but yeah, thanks everyone for listening. And I burped in that. Hold on. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.